How do we get you in here, Tracy? You must really be doing something good, or you're really doing something bad. Okay. We're now back in regular session. We'll go back to Ms. Crystal Martin, the board attorney. Ms. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. President. The board entered executive session at approximately 10:34 a.m. for the purpose of conducting business and discussions regarding litigation of Shantana Johnson versus Hinds County and Benny Johnson versus Hinds County, and discussion regarding the Raymond Detention Center. These are purposes authorized for executive session by Section 2541(7)(4)(b) and C of the Mississippi Code of 1972 as amended, which permits executive sessions for strategy sessions or negotiations with respect to prospective litigation or issuance of an appealable order when an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body. And C, transaction of business and discussion regarding the report, development, or course of action regarding security personnel, plans, or devices. Those entering executive session were Supervisors Robert Graham, Doug Anderson, Peggy Hobson Calhoun, who entered at approximately 10:44 a.m., Phil Fisher, and Kenneth Stubbs. Also present were Chancery Clerk Eddie Jean Carr, County Administrator Carmen Davis, who entered at approximately 10:44 a.m., Board Attorney Crystal Martin, Deputy Sheriff Ron Lewis, Budget and Finance Director Lily Woods, Hinds County Sheriff Tyrone Lewis, Deputy Sheriff Joe Daughtry, Attorney Lawson Hester, Chief Deputy Chris Pico, Captain Michael Ivey, and that is it. First, there was discussion regarding litigation of Shantana Johnson versus Hinds County. Attorney Lawson Hester updated the board with regard to litigation in that matter. There was discussion. Upon motion by Supervisor Stokes and a second by Supervisor Anderson, all supervisors voting aye, it was authorized to permit the attorney for Hinds County to undertake certain actions with regard to litigation in the Shantana Johnson versus Hinds County matter. Next, there was discussion regarding the litigation of Benny Johnson versus Hinds County. Again, Attorney Lawson Hester updated the board with regard to the litigation. There was discussion, and upon motion by Supervisor Stokes and a second by Supervisor Calhoun, all supervisors voting aye, it was resolved to authorize the attorney representing Hinds County to undertake certain actions with regard to litigation in that matter. Next, there was discussion regarding the Raymond Detention Center. The discussion in that matter was extensive, and there was no action taken. Upon motion by Supervisor Stokes and a second by Supervisor Fisher, all supervisors voting aye, it was resolved to return to open session. The board returned to open session from executive session at approximately 11:54 a.m. No other action, vote, or discussion of any kind took place in executive session.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Martin. We'll now go to Supervisor Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I have a motion. I move that we treat the county jail, the Raymond Detention Center, repairs issue as an emergency. And we move as quickly as possible to make repairs, giving the county administrator the authority to move forward with.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and properly second. Any additional discussion? All in favor of?
Yes.
Opposed to? Motion passes. Will the clerk please read the order? We'll give you a copy of what Mr. Stokes stated if you need.
Resolved to approve treating the Raymond Detention Center's repair issue as an emergency and giving the county administrator to move forward forthwith.
Okay. All right, Ms. Davis.
Mr. President, I just wanted to make sure I understand the action today. Does it also include authority to supplement the current funding?
Mr. President, with the motion, as they giving the county administrator authority to move forward with, that should be funding and everything to make sure that whatever needs to be done, she can move forward and accomplish what needs to be accomplished on behalf of this county.
Okay. And that's clear enough, unless we have to make an amendment to the original motion. If you can include that in the original motion, then we'll just let it stand at that, because it's understood that we have this as an emergency issue, and she has the authority to do what she needs to do.
I think that was stated clearly in the motion itself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. President, I wanted to make a correction to the executive session minutes. Mr. Michael Harrington, Hinds County Maintenance Director, was also in the room, as well as other deputies.
Okay. All right, are there any other questions as it relates to this particular issue? If not, I think we have at least a couple more issues. We have, I know that there's one that we'd like to talk about that is not on the agenda, but it's an issue that we just want to update the board on, and it's not anything that we're going to take any action on. So it's illegal that we continue to do that. It's just an update on some previous motion that was made.
If you're referring to the Valentine?
No. Just Mr. Lewis wanted to just update us as it relates to the repairs being done on the radio system, and just kind of just bring us up to date. There's no action to be taken. He just wanted to just update us as to what has been done and where we look as it relates to this particular issue. And I know that it's a public safety issue, so I felt like everyone should know where we are. Mr. Lewis, if you just come to the front and give us a quick update. Now, as it relates to Ms. Priester in the Valley Title Building, do you want to go back into executive session, or you just want to, at the end, you don't want to go back into executive session, you just want to do a 2-on-2?
Yes.
Correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right. And Greta, do you have the thing for me to read? Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and other members of the board. Basically, this is an update on the problem that was occurring. This is part of the problem that has been occurring at the tower located at the Gibbs site in Utica. And we went forward with information that we received from our maintenance providers, getting us the information that we needed in order to correct the problems that was occurring at the Gibbs Tower. And this is just one of the phases that we have started, as far as we have some erosion problems there at the Gibbs site, and which had to be corrected. And we did have a company, West Towers, to go out and do this work. They provided us with the personnel and equipment to repair the erosion around the northern tower anchor. It was approximately half an acre grading and doing work there. And as you can see on the pictures that was presented to us, on the first page is indicating the Gibbs site vegetation. This is before any construction was done. And it also indicates the erosion 1 and the Gibbs site western anchor erosion 2. And on the second page, it shows where the erosion 3. And all it does is gives you an indication of what was there prior to the work being done. Erosion 3 and 4 on the second page. Then the process of correcting the erosion is on the last one on the second page. I'm sorry I don't have copies for you right now, but I'll give you a copy of this. And on the third sheet, it shows the process 2, process 3, and process 4. In other words, where they went in and graded those areas, because there were holes around that anchor support 10 to 15 feet deep where water had eroded that area. And then on the fourth page, it shows the process 5. And then on the fourth page, it indicates the final preparation 1 and the final 2, where they had went in and rerouted where the water will not go directly over the anchor points, but around them. And it showed them where they place rocks there to slow the water that comes in, to slow it down so it won't give that opportunity to erode that area. And there's the final on final 3, 4, and 5, and 6, 7, and there's final grade where they put some type of grass, where grass will grow over that area. So that has been completed. And that's to stabilize that tower, keep it from falling. Now the next stage, to let you know, and we're going to start it today, we're going to issue a purchase order. We already have a purchase order, so we're going to issue that today for the guide-wire plumb and tension on those towers. And this is basically for 3 towers. This is something that should have been done several years ago. There's no work has been done on these towers since they've been installed. And this is some type of work as far as the tension on the guide wires, and also the pathways. When we talk about pathways, we talk about the alignment of one tower to another tower. And see, this has been, from my understanding, this is what's caused of the tower going out and coming back on, because the alignments are off. Meaning that if the alignments are off, anyway, and as you know about towers move. They're not stable, so they do move. They have the tendency to move one way or the other. Well, if the alignment is off, say, if the alignment is correct, and if that tower moves, then it would move to the point where it would throw the tower completely, shut the tower off, the communication off. But if the tower is out of line, which is out of line, then any direction it moves, that means it have the tendency to make that communication leak.
It breaks the lane.
Right. And see, that's the problem we're having. That's one of the problems we know we're having. And as I stated, there's nothing has been done to these towers as far as tension or any of that since they've been installed. So this is the next project that we're working on. Hopefully this will eliminate the tower being going off and coming back on. So and as I stated, it's out of line. Once we get it back in line, then any movement will not cause it to. But see, now since it's out of line, any movement now will cause the tower, communications to fail. So that's been our problem. So I just want to give you an update. So hopefully within the next 2 weeks, that will be corrected. And I'll get back with you with another update on that.
Thank you very much for the update. As the list any additional business to discuss?
I do have one.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this item wasn't in my packet, but it was brought to my attention. There is one unclaimed body for the board to take action on. I'd like you to consider.
Okay. It's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor of it? Opposed to? Motion passes. That's regarding an unclaimed body. Before we finish, we noticed that we have another elected official that's come in, Ms. Graves. Is there an issue that you have, or are we just here to see, make sure we behave?
I do not have a question.
Okay, thank you very much. Unless there are any other issues to discuss, then I'd like to read that the following dates for the Hinds County Board of Supervisors regular meeting will be May the 7th, 2012 at 9 a.m. The next work session will be May the 17th, 2012 here at 9 a.m. And the next special meeting will be at May 21st here in the boardroom at 9 a.m. Any additional special recess or other meetings that be held by posting minute entry or by other means allowed by law. We now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor of? Aye. Opposed to? Motion passes. We will now adjourn at 12:11.
Sign each page here. Now you got to sign each page two there. That much you need this book. I know
Sheriff, Hinds County, Secretary, Administrator, well, everyone must work together. And I think that took place in Hinds County. The repairs will take place at the jail, the family matter. And I think Supervisor Calhoun came up with a bigger idea that maybe we need to think in terms of the possibility of jail down the road. But short term, I think the county.
I think you got everything else, yep. I did.
I just want to tell you, Ruth that was here rubbed my nose, and she sent me an email saying that the University Medical Center has been deemed storm ready, and so she sent me an email on it.
Listen, let me tell you something. We are, they just haven't done the final walkthrough. Just to let you know that, but I can't tell you that. But we are.
Okay.
They just got to come through and do the final. See, they was backed up on some things and the weather. Okay. That's why they couldn't come through. So they should be in here. I think we set up in a week or so, because that's the only dates that they had available.
Okay, so maybe we can, by the next board meeting, you can announce it to the next board meeting.
I'm hoping so, but then I have to wait. I can't make it official until they come do their final walkthrough. But we have everything in place.
Okay.
It's just a matter of them coming through.
Okay.
Because Steve Wilkerson, we met last week, and he was talking about the rain gauge stuff, and he said, Jimmy, y'all got everything. It's just that we hadn't got a chance to set up a date to do our walkthrough. So we there.
Okay, all right, got you.
Hey, you gonna keep your picture? You gonna keep your picture?
Rita has one.
Wait, change with that.
Whenever you get ready,
They gave you a housing spot. What were those major issues down at the jail?
Well, man, much that you work on.
That was definitely working.
Some deal was not deal.
Oh, okay.
It should come about next time. Absolutely. I don't know if they're going to be new doors or bad, but they will work properly.
How much money is put aside?
Well, that's the kind of administrator again, we're putting the ball in her court because she's got to make decisions. We don't want to say $100,000 and it takes $200,000. So we're putting the ball in her court where she can make this decision to make sure everything's fixed properly.
So right now there's no match as to how much money.
No, man.
Is this the first property they have with the doors, or?
Oh, this is long term. Again, I say Supervisor Calhoun, who's been on this board longer than any other board member, said I'd be time that we could afford it in jail. I think that the citizens in this county feel that they want to be safe, and to have inmates walking out and inmates hurting each other, it's not how it's supposed to work.
Is there a roundabout figure?
Some suggestions, not around 100,000. That's a certain door, but you got other issues. So, I don't want to give you a figure that we can't live up to or can't make sure that it's attainable. I want to give you a figure that they mentioned to us and that this board feel like can come about.
Did the sheriff seem pleased with you all's decision?
Well, I think the idea, let's fix something, is the most important thing. And, one thing I did like about this meeting, one of them needs to point fingers. We need to point fingers. The sheriff can point fingers at the county administrator who can point fingers at the sheriff and the maintenance man can point fingers. Let's fix the problem. Then we can point fingers at another time. So I think everybody moving in the right direction in terms of making sure that this jail is fixed properly. Now, again, long term, you have to think in terms of the jail. You have to think in terms of how much that will cost and those kind of things. And you got to think in terms of the city of Jackson really need to come on board to help Hinds County. It's got to be a win-win for everyone. And Supervisor Fisher provided numbers dealing with over 700 people that's in the jail are from Jackson. Most of these small towns, I think the max they may find might be 20. So,
So the majority of the inmates in the jail?
From Jackson. They're from Jackson, and some of them, that's why, some feel that Jackson should have their own jail. But, it'll be interesting to talk to Supervisor Fisher about, his numbers that he tells and ask him some of his response. Because it's real that the vast majority of these inmates are from Jackson, and Jackson got to step up. Hinds County can't just handle all this by itself.
What's on that end as far as going and talking to the people in Jackson?
Well, it can't hurt. I just left the city, so I think with the mayor and with the council members, we can discuss it. It's something that has to be said because it's going to affect Jackson in the long run if Hinds County cannot provide a safe environment for the employees that work in the jail or the whole inmates. It's going to affect Jackson because most of these inmates are Jackson inmates. So the win-win would be for us to work together. Now, I know it's a contract, and I looked at the contract briefly today, and I'm just saying that even though they had a bad agreement on the part of Hinds County, I don't know who negotiated for, but somewhere down the line, I'm just hoping that what's best for Hinds County would be re-examined, and the city of Jackson and the county will work together.
The county is cash strapped right now. Can the county continue to afford to shell out money to this jail?
No, absolutely. I'm talking about a county, and don't get me wrong, $52 million is a lot of money all over the world. But you're saying the city is going to spend anywhere from $300 to $500 million. Our county is not just the city of Jackson. We have all the cities and all the unincorporated areas. So what I'm saying is that the county budget must be large and they need more money, especially when you got a budget of $52 million and about $30 million plus is probably going to the courts in the sheriff department, law enforcement.
You don't have money, you know, to do simple things. No summer job, no mosquito baiting. You know, simple things that government need to have, you don't have money for. So, yes, the county budget needs to be large. That's number one. Number two is that for this issue on law enforcement and the sheriff's department and jail, the county has made a decision that we're going to make sure this jail is fixed properly. And that's going to be short term. Now, long term, we need to think about a new jail. Thank y'all so much.
No, you good.
Y'all all right? Again, I just suggest that you talk to ask about those numbers.
Thanks there, Kenny. I owe you one.
You can just say right here.
Where you from?
From Columbus.
Listen?
Yeah. Do you have numbers of how many?
Where you going, Greg?
Talk about the jail. He said you have numbers about how many of those inmates are actually Jackson inmates.
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, they're put every day on my website, but on the county webpage, you know, on my webpage, and they're updated every night. So last night we showed 702 inmates from Jackson, 203 from outside of Hinds County, and then you had 11 from Bolton, 8 from Byram, 23 from Clinton, 13 from Edwards, 19 from Raymond, 12 from Terry, and 5 from Utica. Now, this is just their address. This is where they live. It doesn't show where they might have done their crime.
Right.
So, but that's just the addresses of those involved. And also, you know, there's a lot of issues that can be talked about. But I think overwhelmingly, you know, almost 905, either from Jackson or from outside of Hinds County. And the point to me becomes, you know, at what point do those who don't live in Jackson but still live in Hinds County, you know, have paid their part of this? The county is required to have a jail. We have that jail. We've met that requirement. Now, there are a lot of options that will be discussed, but as Mr. Stokes was saying earlier, it's time for Jackson, I think, to get back into jail business, long term. That's not addressing the issues that we talked about in there. In my own opinion, Jackson needs to build their own jail and deal with the situations that they have there. And so that's where I'm coming from with this, because I think the people in my district, Murray, Clinton, Byron, and Raymond, they're paying their fair share. Okay? As a matter of fact, you could argue that they're paying more than their fair share as we go through this process. So I think that it's time for, you know, Jackson to get back in the jail business and start dealing with it.
They said they're not in the jail business.
Oh, I know. I understand that. They've said that since the county Board of Aldermen, or Board of Supervisors back in mid-90s or so renegotiated the deal where they said they would take the whole, you know, responsibility for this. Bad deal, bad thought process. End of the day, Jackson needs to get back into it, or we're going to reach a point where Jackson, and I think based on the numbers, Jackson alone needs to start paying for their inmates after a certain number.
Do they pay anything now? How does that work?
No.
They pay nothing?
No. Well, let me back up.
Right.
People pay taxes.
Right.
And the sheriff's budget is about $21 million of a $54 million county budget. So, and then within that $21 million is the court, there is the jail. So everyone pays taxes based on the assessment of their property. And that pays for the jail. The question then becomes, at what point do you equalize this payment based on the numbers of people who are and where they're from in the jail? And I think if the numbers were closer in line, you know, you might look at some other avenues, but you know, when 70% of those who are in the jails are from Jackson, that's pretty far out of line.
So you'd like, if they would not want to build a jail, have them pay something per prisoner per day?
Yes.